my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. I was wondering whether you would still do that same intro where you class me as your very good friend, but I'm glad that you did, my very good friend as well. So, hey there, Chris. And, of course, hello to our listeners out there listening in podcast land. So, welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the great movies and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, last week you revelled in the fact that you made me watch that shit show of a movie, Eat My Dust, and I just couldn't help it. I thought, right, I'm bringing out the big guns now. What are we going to review this week?
Well, just before it tells what we're going to review, Dave, I have listened to that episode so many times. I'm not trying to get the view count up. I just love the fact that I like listening to it as if it's not me and you, as if it's someone else's podcast, because the start of it when I'm pissing myself laughing at you, it's so funny. Honestly, it's stupid because that film is fucking awful. And then when I listen to the trailer, it's that stupid music they use when they're getting chased and that. It's like proper shit. But anyway, because of what's happened last week, Dave decided he was going to get one over, and we did play the trailer in last week's episode of what we're going to review. But however, we're going for the 1980 British sword and sorcery adventure film, Hawk the Slayer. Now, Dave, I've never heard of this shit, so go on. What memories have you got of this?
You've never seen this? Never at all?
Dave, I don't watch this nonsense. Dungeons and Dragons cartoon was the most I got for sorcery bollocks.
So I've said before, probably my go-tos, almost wore out we actually had a Betamax first before we had to move over to the VHS. But, it pretty much wore out Star Wars and also Superman 1 and 2. But probably there's like a second tier after that. So, I did quite like the old sword and sorcery fantasy movies. When I got a bit older, I kind of got into a bit of different fantasy movies. But at this time, the early 80s, I can't remember the first time if we rented it out on the video shop. And, my dad did the old, video to video, or a little bit of sellotape over the back, so you can, so you can copy it. So I not to throw my dad under the bus, but we had plenty of copies there. Or it could have been off the TV. I can't remember, but I do remember we had a little copy of this one, and I fucking loved it, Chris. And I'd forgotten about it for years and years. And now there's a certain scene that I remember. I actually remember the Hunchback where he's got his mace or his mallet thing, and he's got to not talk. He's got to bite down on the rope to stop his smashing his face in. And every now and again over the last, in my adult life, I think back to that scene. I think, what was that fucking film? I can't remember it. And it was literally a few weeks ago where I came across it. It's like, oh, fucking Hawk the Slayer. I remember that now. But I got to tell you, Chris, I watched this quite a lot. And I think, I remember this one. There's also films like Krull, which Bernard Bresslaw is in as well. He's like a Cyclops in that. You've got, Conan, which you hated, which, even your love for Arnie couldn't save that one. And that, compared to this, that was like big budget Hollywood production. This was... Actually, Chris, do you remember, do you ever watch Robin Hood? The old BBC TV series?
Well, yes, I remember one from the 80s, was it?
Yeah.
I did watch that, yeah. I did
Robin. The Hooded Man.
It was on
something like that.
Was it on the children's channels, like a BBC?
Fuck off.
Was it not? No.
No, this was... No. children's channels. There were no children's channels. There was fucking BBC 1 and 2 and ITV, you know, when I was growing up, and then we got Channel 4.
To be fair though, Dave, you are older than me, so maybe you're having a Betamax anyway.
Back in the day. So, no, it reminds me a lot of that, you know, just, I mean, this is very much like a TV movie. But when I came across the name of it as well, and I could just remember like little hazy bits, I didn't really have a good memory. Oh, Beastmaster was another one that I remember watching.
Yeah,
quite
I've
a lot
seen
as well.
bits of that, yeah.
But I just thought, you know what? I'm going to keep this one in the locker. And I'm going to inflict this one on you at some point. But it's one of those, Chris, where I was thinking, you know what? I know this is going to destroy any love that I have of it as well, because I know in my heart of hearts, this is going to be fucking terrible. And yeah, well, we'll get into how we feel. So, I mean, did you not see any of these, Chris? You
No.
must have saw them in like the video shop or something.
Never. Dave, I'll tell you now, if I saw any of this shit in the video shop, as soon as I see some sort of sorcery bollocks on the front, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, I used to watch on a loop, hoping that them fuckers would actually get home. And the one time they did get home, they had to go back. And I never watched them after that. I used to watch them religiously, Dungeons and Dragons, but it's just not me. And I've got to say, Dave, how fucking dare you slag my martial arts love when you're putting this shit in front of me? I fucking hate, and I might piss it, I hate Doctor Who. I detest that show. I've hated it since I was a kid. This sort of bollocks is, I mean, Doctor Who isn't like this, but I fucking hate it. This is shit on toast, right, Dave? This is one of the, this is awful, right? And it's the fact that Eat My Dust got slated by you last week, and then I've got to watch this guy who not only moves like an IKEA wardrobe, fucking acts like one as well. He's as stiff and as wooden as I've fucking seen. I've got a 7-foot IKEA wardrobe in front of me as we record this, Dave, and that's acting and moving better than this fucker John Terry. It is utter shit, and you have done me and got me back completely, Mr. Horace, because I will fuck this nonsense at all. Usually, I would fucking avoid it. And you know what? We haven't even got into it yet, so I'm going to save my fucking palate because I'm really going off on this piece of fucking shit.
You must have plenty of fucking dry powder if you've not even got to the trailer yet. So the reason I thought you might have seen it in the video shop or something, I think my eye was always drawn. There was usually a scantily clad lady quite often, you know, draped across, you know, the cover as well. So not on this one. This one's more of a kind of bit more of an Iron Maiden cover, isn't it? John Terry looks like Bruce Dickinson there, holding up the Mind Sword, and I just think it's a great iconic poster. But Chris, before you wet any more of your powder, I think we should get into the trailer.
Let's go.
Enough! Two blood brothers, out for each other.
You have found the power which is rightly mine. How?
The firstborn brother, they called him Voltan. Enter, Dark One. The devil's agent, the servant of evil.
Kill him!
The second-born brother, they called him Hawk. He had one secret weapon, the ancient power of the Sword of Mind, and he was out for revenge.
Last thing you will ever see is the woman you love in my arms.
I am ready.
Two brothers, two armies, two forces of good and evil. Voltan's army, the devil's army, and Hawk's. A dwarf, a giant, an elfin bowman, a witch, and Hawk. Together, they took on the mighty Voltan. Together, they took on the Devil's Agent. Two blood brothers, with only blood between them. Beyond the edge of darkness, there is a world of sword and sorcery.
So, Dave, we've also got a new Patreon this week, haven't we, as well? Another fantastic follower and supporter of our podcast to go with Tony and John.
We've got John Hammond, and I tell you what, Chris, he's loving our back catalogue as well, which is fantastic. So really appreciate John. And John, you know, again, for our first few Patreons, we've generally been bumping them up a few levels as well. So, you know, there's different levels, right from just a pound to just support the podcast, just keep us afloat. And then as you go up, you get your early access, you get executive producer, you get producer, and then all the way to McFly, where we'll fly you out somewhere. We said Vegas, but last week we were talking about, you know, maybe going to Texas in an Eat My Dust, and then maybe here we'll go to Sherwood Forest or something. You know? But anyway, the McFly, no, we don't actually expect anyone to take that. But no, really appreciate John. And he's joined our list of illustrious executive producers. So we've got Brent across on the Cinema Chat podcast. We've got Tony across on the Indie Comics Spotlight on the Comics in Motion feed. And we've got John now, who's a writer as well. He does all like stuff for DC Comics News and Dark Knight News and all that good stuff. So really, guys, thank you so much. You are our executive producers for today.
Good stuff. And as always, guys, if you want to get in contact with us, at VHS Strikes Back on Twitter, the VHSstrikesback at gmail.com if you want to drop us an email. And as Dave said with the Patreon, it's patreon.com/VHS Strikes Back.
Now, Chris, normally I'd start off, and I've got a few notes, particularly about how the movie starts and then what the major plot points are, just as mental images. But you'll be glad to know that I have got copious notes for this movie, because I do not want to... This needs to be savoured and like a fine wine. So we start off. We are introduced to Voltan, the evil Voltan, whose helmet looks nothing like Darth Vader's at all. And he's confronting his dad, who looks about the same age as him, because he's after the Mind Stone. But he doesn't give him, and so rather than a bit of interrogation, he skewers him straight away, mortally wounding him. Our hero, our protagonist, Hawk, comes in, but he's just too late. He's missed Voltan, but just in time for, you know, his dying dad to teach him how the Mind Stone works. And here we are introduced, Chris, to a masterclass of acting. We see the ability to stand still and be completely expressionless by Mr. John Terry, not of Chelsea and England football fame, but, you know, of mostly TV work fame. Now, Chris, what do you make to the opening of this movie?
Dave, right. What I'm going to say is this. I am a good salesman. I can usually get people involved in stuff because of my enthusiasm. And I've got to give you full credit for the way you've done it. You've really laid in there. It really sounds like a great movie. It's not. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. So Zoltan, and you rang me about this, pissing yourself laughing because you watched this prior to me, crying about Jack Palance, who's Zoltan. Now, I've had to have a look here, and I didn't know how old his dad was, because his dad's only in it for the first scene. Now, you'd said to me his dad is 64 years old, right? Jack Palance kills his father in the movie. Jack Palance was 61 when he played this part, Dave. So not only, even despite the shittest brown hair dye we've ever seen, Jack Palance is not only absolutely fucking dog shit and fucking wank in this movie, he's also the same age as his dad, pretty much, right? He's got a Magneto-struck Darth Vader helmet on that covers one eye, which is supposed to be because he's scarred. He is... I actually think because he overacts in every scene, he's worse than John Terry. He's fucking terrible. It's like they've sent him to some acting theatre school and say, right, overact on everything so the audience and the new students understand what it's about. It's not even chewing scenery, Dave. He's like fucking Pac-Man eating everything up. He's absolutely fucking terrible. But John Terry on the other side, fucking good old Hawk, he's also absolute shit. Now, when we were kids, and I know we have a lot of people like Tony and some of our other friends, not just from the UK. When we were younger, we used to have educational TV programs, didn't we, on in the daytime, Monday to Friday. We'd be on Channel 4 and sometimes on BBC Two, but Channel 4 especially. And what you would get is you would always get your teacher would go, right, we're going to go and watch this program now. And they put live telly on and you'd have some educational things. So I remember there was a thing called, you probably know the same because it's up our neck, and it was called the Lindo Man. Do you ever remember that, Dave?
No.
All right. So there's the Lindo Man. So what it was, they found a mummified body from like hundreds, thousands of years ago, and it was completely preserved. It's still in a museum. I think it's still in Manchester. It used to be Manchester Museum, historic museum, and like, they've got the dinosaur stuff like that. But he was completely preserved. And he was dead, but obviously he was dead because it's thousands of years ago. But you see, like a peat. A peat thing, so his body was completely preserved inside the peat, and
fucking hell, I remember that.
Yeah. So it's still there on display and everything, and it was always. And I remember watching like a documentary, like one of these mockumentaries. So you'd have like people acting, and they would be acting a part of like the Lindo Man, whoever he was, and he'd have his family there, and they'd all be dressed in like as if they were from thousands of years ago. And you've got this setting, and it'd be dead shit, and then they'd stop it halfway through and go, right, what have you spotted now? And you'd have to like guess them and write down your stuff on the fucking with the teacher and all that shit. This is the level of acting we're dealing with, Dave. We're dealing with children's educational movie fucking documentary shit. This is absolutely fucking wank. I'm watching it. And obviously, I know we don't come into later on, but Bernard Breslow he's actually acting as if he's in the Carry On movies. There's no difference in his skills. He's the same character. I'm just expecting
before we get on to Bernard,
I'm expecting Sid James to turn up, or fucking Barbara Windsor with fucking knockers out. You know what I mean? It's fucking terrible.
Doing the morning exercises.
Yeah. Matron, yeah.
Oh, Matron, take them away. Fucking. I can't really disagree with anything of that. But I mean, Jack Palance, he's a very famous name, isn't he? And, we saw him on the comics podcast he was playing Grissom in 1989 Batman. He was Curly in City Slickers, wasn't he? But he's very kind of stoic in that role. I must admit, I was watching this thinking, how is this fucker famous for acting? Because, he takes... fucking Captain Kirk, old William Shatner gets abused, or not abused, but he gets poked fun at for overacting. But Jesus Christ, Jack Palance takes that and just ramps it up to 11. Every single thing that he does is over the top. And after, he's killed his dad and, we've got Hawk, and then it's like an end credits thing, isn't it? It seems to go on for like 5 minutes. We get the credits rolling through before we get into the actual movie. But then, Jack Palance's gone to this sorceress type of thing, this like witch, and he's obviously got a problem with his eye, and it's the way he's like, It's like the sword and sorcery version of Bonjela, I think, So, if you ever get ulcers, I used to get ulcers all the time. I think I was eating too much salt probably, but, you put it on and, eventually it's going to make it feel better. But fucking hell, for about a minute, you're just in pure agony. So that was all I could think when he was having this thing. We see later that, basically it was just a burn, wasn't it? So I don't know why it was quite so, it was like a magical burn or something, wasn't it? But it was fucking terrible. But yeah, honestly, Chris, but it is terribly and wonderfully brilliant as well. Go on, what were you going to say?
Fucking not, Dave. Anyway, I to be fair, I stopped him at halfway through, and I messaged you, and I told you I was watching it, and you were like, waiting for baby, and I said, you know what, it's not as bad as I thought. However, it's from about a 45th minute on, it gets worse. I think I was a bit more forgiving because it's like watching one of them shit karate movies, like that fucking Snake in a Monkey's Shadow, whatever it is, but without the martial arts. If at least there's a bit of karate in it, a bit of violence, like you can live with it. I mean, honestly, the fucking nuns, that the whatever they are, it's ridiculous. You know, every time that Zoltan uses his sword, Jack Palance, he like inserts it into him about 1 inch into the body. Obviously, they didn't have this proper money. But Dave, let me say, I have never watched the film, right, where the music does not match with what the fucking film's about. So we've got 70s porn music, right, literally for the whole way through it. But then it like changes halfway through, and we've got fucking Jean-Michel Jarre fucking synthesizer fucking music going on while we're in this mythical medieval fucking town and world that's supposed to be being created, but the music just never fits. And every time Hawk comes on and has to sell someone to stop being abusive to whoever, like whether it's the witch who's tied up or something, you always get this like little karate music coming on when he's there, like a little almost a Bruce Lee, or what I would expect.
No. It's not from the karate movies. You recognise that. So originally, when they were putting this together, so Terry Marcel was the director, and it was produced by a guy called Harry Robertson, and they were trying to do like a sword and sorcery fistful of dollars. They were trying to go for like a whole spaghetti western feel. So I don't know if, I mean, the fact that John Terry acted in other stuff apart from this tells me that he can't be as terrible as the performance that he gives here. So he was in Full Metal Jacket, he was in Living Daylights, I think, wasn't he in Lost?
Yeah, he was Jack's dad, yeah.
Yeah, so he can't be as terrible as he is here. So I think he's going for a whole kind of Clint Eastwood thing. He's trying to be just very stoic and not moving. But, you know, they say acting is, a lot of it is done with the eyes, and his are just dead, aren't they? I mean, I quite often say, you know, I think Keanu Reeves gets a bit too much stick for being wooden. But fuck me, he is like fucking Marlon Brando compared to John Terry, to be honest.
Oh,
but with the music, I think it's great. I think it is weird. I'll grant you that. It's like this weird kind of medieval sci-fi prog rock thing that I just can't. I don't think I've ever heard anything quite like it. But and again, it's probably the nostalgia. It's tickling on a little memory that I've got nestled in the back of my brain somewhere where I actually remember this shit. But I mean, you say about the nuns, it had I can't remember the actress's name now, but she was the wife, the long-suffering wife out of One Foot in the Grave.
Annette, is it Annette O'Toole? She was.
She's in Calendar Girls as well.
Yeah. She's just been recently in Afterlife. She's the 100-year-old woman who swears, isn't she? So, in the chair, that's her. Yeah. So,
fucking hell, you're right. Yeah.
Annette Crosby. But yeah, sorry, Dave. Go on.
Yeah, no. So we have Ranulph. You know, he's escaped from his village. You know, the devil himself had slaughtered the whole village. And I do have to say, Chris, and honestly, I enjoyed this a bit more than I thought I was going to. And it's not just the fact that I'm making you watch it. There is something wonderfully terrible about it because they keep talking about this world, you know, and the devil himself and whatever. But everyone seems to be within about a 5-mile radius. You know, they're just in a forest somewhere. That is the whole world, it seems. So that did make me laugh. But yeah, so he makes it to the nuns. And the thing I found a bit odd was, you know, the nuns are absolutely horrified that he's, you know, they've obviously chopped his fingers off. And they're like, oh, who could have done such a thing? I'm like, isn't this sort of medieval times? You know, surely this shit happens like all the time. So I thought that was a little bit strange. But, I mean, he gets tasked for some reason. I mean, Voltan seems to be a bit skint. So he decides, well, I'm going to go and rob the nunnery. They've got plenty of cash.
Yeah.
And old Randolph, he says, you know, just pay up, you know, so there's no kind of negotiating with the devil or whatever. And I do have to say, so Ranulph, he was played by William Morgan Shepherd. Again, one of these journeyman actors. Again, linking it back to comics a little bit. There was an Iron Man back in the mid '90s, and he played Dum Dum Dugan, which is the character with a little bowler hat. I don't know if you remember from the Captain America movies, but I actually think he is one of the actors. So there are a few, because this is almost like a who's who of British TV, apart from the main two actors, John Terry and Jack Palance. But I actually think he's putting in a decent performance. You know, it would fit probably on something like Game of Thrones or something like that. But anyway, he goes and, he goes to the bishop or whoever, and he says, give this guy, this gold coin, and his name is Hawk. And then we get Hawk coming through the mist, and he saves this witch, and you think, oh, that's going to play up a little bit later, isn't it? So, but it's just, you seem to get these random, one or two bloke parties, but, obviously it's very, very handy that he meets the witch. And she says, many times have I heard your name spoke, yet no one ever mentions the fact that he's got this glowing green fucking stone, because, Voltan's very surprised at the end of the movie. But we get to meet Randolph, so he's on his quest, and he gets ambushed by these three blokes, and they're having a bit of a game. They're throwing these axes at his head, but then you get this little thing that you were talking about, which is where I went off on this tangent about the old spaghetti westerns. Hawk turns up, and you get this like little whistle, don't you? Goes, it's not quite, it's not quite wow wow wow. It's not quite that, but it's like the medieval version of it. So every time he turns up, and he again we get we get Warren Clark of Clockwork Orange fame, and he was in all sorts, wasn't he? Over the years, again mostly TV. He gives him an opportunity to run along on his way, but he thinks he's going to have a go, and he gets killed, and we see that Hawk's pretty handy. And you mentioned stage acting before, Chris. That is mostly what this is, isn't it? Everything's a bit hammed up. Everything's a bit over the top. The swords are clearly wooden and stuff, but this brings Hawk and Randolph together, doesn't it? And this, for me, Chris, is one of my favourite bits, because as well as, the Dungeons and Dragons cartoons, the likes of Conan when you're growing up and stuff like that. Conan was a couple of years after this, but I used to love the books as well. I never got into Dungeons and Dragons, the gaming, for some reason, but I did like to, read these books where, it's like, choose this way, right, go to page 80 or something like that. Or if you choose this way, go to page 64. And so this putting a team together, putting a band together, is one of the best bits for me. What do you reckon?
Oh, God. Dave, I'm sorry. I'm not buying your fucking... He's like trying to sell me a fucking conservatory or something with this movie. You make it sound so interesting, and it's really not. It's fucking... It's terrible. But let me touch on something, Dave, right? The special effects of this movie, not only to go with the absolutely god-awful music that they've used, but the special effects are second to none. I mean, there's a bit there where Ranulph and fucking Hawk are going through like this old like forest, and he's like, yeah, this used to be such a thriving place. And that's what even worse about this movie is Jack Palance and Hawk are the only Americans in the movie. Every other fucker is English. Completely English. There's no deviation. They're all English. And you're right. It feels like it's a play because it's just one set piece after another. And you're right about the spaghetti western thing, because Hawk always appears at some elevated position and it's like, you down there, leave them alone. And then the next minute he does some shit fucking sword thing, or he does something else. It's terrible. But the special effects, because when Randolph and him are walking through this supposed sort of forest, they've got the worst. It's almost school play level of special effects for the cobwebs, and they're on horses.
It's like a shit pikey fucking ghost train or something.
They're just going through, and he's trying to speak, and it's like you have literally about £3.50 on your fucking budget for this movie. It's terrible. But then when we meet Bernard Bresler. Now, so we're at that point pretty much now. We're sort of like about nearly halfway through the movie as we get the team together, Dave. It's not exactly a training montage. It's not like the A-Team or something like that. This is like probably one of the worst teams we've ever seen, right? I know in these mythical sorcery things, they're all different. I used to play Altered Beast on the Mega Drive years ago. That was a sorcery game, a massive game. You know what I mean? You used to change into the wolf, Golden Axe, Altered Beast, stuff like that, and you would change into the wolf and all that stuff. So I get it. I've played it. I get the idea behind it. It's just not my thing. However, when Bernard Bresler comes in, I've got to say, right, I've called out some of these films where, like Ralph Macchio, I give him loads of stick and comics in motion because he just simply has never done karate in his life. And he's never done it. He can't kick. He can't do anything. Well, Bernard Bresler comes in, Dave, as this giant, right? So he's getting a bit of shit off these people and he decides to take some names. I have never seen kicks like it. He's not trying to be a karate expert. They're all like, if you were doing like when I did Thai boxing and that, you would do like the low kicks to the knees or the shins and stuff, you know, and all that. He's doing like sort of a side, I don't know, it's like a football kick or something. It's not even real. It's just like, what are you doing? And then the people are just falling around him. And I just can't take him seriously because he's just a comedic fucking actor to me. He's always the gormless. I keep imagining Carry On. Is it Carry On Up Your Convenience, where they work in the toilet seat factory? Him and Sid James and fucking Barbara Windsor. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, Dave. And that's all I can see him as. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just a fucking bumbling idiot. So when you see him here, and I think I could be wrong here. I've never researched it properly. I'm sure Bernard Bresler was some sort of strong man or something in his day. He was a he's a big bloke, you know. So
he's 6'7", apparently.
That's what I mean. He was a big guy, so he was always in different movies. But as a kid, I just watched Carry On movies on a fucking loop. So it was just, it's just fucking terrible. It's terrible.
Well, we're gonna have to do Carry On at some point, you know. But which one?
God, Dave, I tell you what, we'd have to tread very carefully. Fucking hell, talk about non-PC.
You know what? I probably watched, I probably watched one. I think I tried to watch one about 10 years ago, and then I was just like, oh, fucking hell, this hasn't aged well at all. But for another day. But yeah, I thought it was very strange. It was obviously just completely set up. Like, say, you've got this guy in a cart. He's obviously, his wheels fell off. He's conned the giant into, fixing it. But you've just got all these soldiers sat there, nothing to do with this bloke, but it's obviously all just set up for a bit of a fight. But that's the first member, isn't it? The first one of the team. And then we get this elf. So we get Crow, and he's going to get conned by these other two blokes, again. This the one guy, not the archer who's trying to con him, his mate, has got the most over-the-top royal pronunciation English accent in the world, hasn't it? It's like, hello, my good fellow. It's like, what the fuck? I am just a commoner strolling through this wonderful forest, sir.
I'm going to do my impression, Dave. I'm going to do it. I know I'm not good at impressions, but I'd tell you what, at that point, I'm just going, Mary Poppins, as I live and breathe. I just get fucking Chimney, my friend. I kept expecting that to come on. Oh, it's fucking terrible.
but I mean, so old Crow and fucking hell, I don't know what that shell suit sort of thing is supposed to be that he's wearing, but he's obviously an elf, and he gets challenged to this archery competition, and I don't know, I don't know that much about elves, outside of Lord of the Rings and that sort of stuff. But clearly he thinks that an elf is like a robot or something. I don't know if he's going for a whole, like, take on Spock or something because he's got pointy ears. But, when they have this competition, he's like, my arrow hit first. And it's like, even before that, he's like, I am ready. It's like, what the fuck? It's like Twinkie. Is it Twinkie or Tweaky? Buck Rogers?
Buck Rogers, yeah.
It just speaks like fucking like a robot, and it's just absolutely mad. But again, in this competition, he's tried to there was supposed to be no competition. He was supposed to get stabbed in the back, but luckily we get Hawk turning up just in time. We get the old, and he's turned up and he's like, let's keep the odds even. And so they end up having this little duel. Now, Chris, I must admit, I watched this scene probably about 5 times because I was just crying. So they have this little duel, and there's a bit of editing, isn't it? So it makes the elf look like he's shooting the arrows really quick. But it's the way he does this duel, and then this bandit kind of thing. He goes to draw his, his arrow and whatever, but then we just cut away, and then we see him again, and he's just got, I don't know where his arrow's gone, but he's just got an arrow in the middle of his chest. He drops to his knees, and this is pure Monty Python comedy. He just drops to his knees, and he goes, I never even saw it. Just kills over.
You know who that guy is as well, Dave. And you know what? I was crying at that one because he was face to face with him. It was fucking terrible. But that guy is the South African guy out of Lethal Weapon 2. He's the guy who Martin Riggs fights at the end. The one who's like, thingy's, what's he called? Him who's, diplomatic immunity. What's he called? The one who plays that part. He's a famous actor.
It's been years since I've seen the second one.
Yeah, but he's his henchman who actually confesses to killing Riggs' wife. That's why Riggs' wife dies before the first one. He's the one. So when he's there, I'm thinking, 8 years later or 9 years later, you were in Lethal Weapon 2, you fucker, as a South African, and your acting didn't improve in that, even though I love Lethal Weapon 2. But yeah, it's fucking terrible. It's brilliant, though, Dave. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. It's got a charm because it is so shit. It has got a charm about it that it doesn't deserve. Because I'm not like, I'm hating every minute of it, but I'm not. I'm like wanting to watch what happens next because it's so bad. Because you said to me, like, Jack Palance, how is he so like revered as like such a good actor? But I think he did a lot of spaghetti western stuff in the 50s and 60s. He was quite a big actor. He was always like a baddie because of his look. He looked like a boxer, didn't he? Like a proper hard nut. But this is the fact that he's 61 years old. His brother, John Terry, was 30 when he played this. His fucking brother's 30 in real life. And his dad was 64. I mean, continuity-wise, even when he's got that fucking mask on, you can put all the fake hair dye you want. Age does not hide it off your face, Dave. It's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, we get these. I'll come back to the dwarf because we get the dwarf. He's the last one in the team, but we get these little flashbacks, don't we? So to a time before Voltan was scarred, and Hawk was happy with his missus there, but Voltan, he obviously was sweet for her as well. It's that first one, that first meeting, and we get this little. Again, it's like a stage play, or like you say, it's like a school play, and it's like, watch for me, Hawk, watch for me in the night. And he just walks back into the hedge, Homer Simpson style. It's fucking brilliant. And again, that was another scene where I'm just like, how is this fucker so famous? I don't get it. But anyway, back to the dwarf. Again, I remember this. Again, fucking overacting. These Hare Krishna priests are fucking... Again, did they just drag them off the stage or something like that? And they'd never done any TV acting? I don't know. But, they're trying to give like this whole Viking funeral to the dwarf. And again, Hawk turns up just in time to kind of rescue him. And then the priest is fucking hamming it up. And he's like... Great glory could be thine.
That sounds better than them, Dave. That was good.
It's like, what the fuck? What is that you're going for? I mean, just ridiculously hammed up. But the dwarf's the last one. Again, we see that he's got a bit of an appetite on him. He eats this whole fish. Again, that's one of those scenes that I remember as a kid. And we've got the whole band. And then they go off to, rob. Now, this is where it gets a bit questionable for me, Chris. They go off to rob a local slaver. Now, clearly, he's a slaver, so in modern-day terms, obviously, is deplorable. But this is medieval times. So I would have thought that was just a trade, like blacksmithing or something like that. They basically go and rob this bloke of all his money and kill off all of his workers.
They were probably nice
mean,
people.
Well, they've got families, they've got mouths to feed at home. He's just trying to sell off these fucking vampires. By the looks of it, they were the whitest people I think I've ever seen in my life. And in their little tiny loincloths. But yeah, I was just watching it and I'm thinking, am I supposed to be rooting for these guys? Are these the heroes? Because he's basically just gone off and robbed and slaughtered all these people. And the bit that I mentioned before, where the hunchback, the local businessman, he's like basically tied down to the floor and had his face smashed in by a club.
But Dave, the special effects with the sword, he mentioned it before, are fucking amazing. We've got like where they're obviously rewinding the scene so it looks like he's picking a sword up all the time. It's like this weird thing.
It's a bit later as well, where clearly the elf jumps backwards off the tree, but they roll it they roll the film backwards, so as if he's jumping up, and it's like, yeah, I can see what you've done, but you're not pulling it off.
They do it continually through the movie, though. And that's the thing. And I've got one thing I've got to give them credit for is they obviously had no fucking budget for this, and the use of some of the shit effect. You've got, God loves a trier, Dave, and they don't are fucking trying this. It's fantastic. I mean, it's just shit. It's shit on toast. I can't articulate myself enough, Dave. I'm just swearing all the time because it's hilarious that you've picked this movie. And it's not...
Sorry. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, but it's not... It's not one of the movies where I'm fuming looking at the clock. I'm just... Jury's on the floor like, how the fuck has this even been commissioned to make... Why has somebody backed this movie and paid somebody to produce it and direct it? It is fucking woeful.
Well, they did actually. Again, this has got a big cult following, Chris, and it was only through researching and stuff I found out that they were trying to get a sequel off the ground. Obviously, by the ending, they were sort of hinting towards that. Obviously, never happened, but they must have made money on this. But they did start a Kickstarter, but it didn't get funded, unfortunately. So, but maybe one day, Chris, maybe one day it'll happen. But no, what I was going to say before is. The weird thing is, he's gone and slaughtered all the Hunchback's men, including the Hunchback himself, stolen all of the money, gets back to the old nunnery, and then decides not to pay Voltan anyway. So I don't know what that whole fucking slaughter was for. Mind you, I guess he's not Hawk the really nice guy, is he? He's Hawk the Slayer. But yeah, I just thought that was weird, and it never occurred to me before. It's like, why do you just rob the money and then fucking do nothing with it?
Yeah.
But
very bizarre.
They're holed up. We get some weird... fucking hell, I reckon they could have shaved about another half hour on this if they just took out every scene that was like uncomfortable or just, stoic staring into space. We get this scene where, the dwarf is conning the giant out of some chicken. He's like, oh, that's holy food, that. And, this went on for about 5 minutes, Chris. And I'm like, what purpose does this serve? I don't get it. But, they do. We get Drogo, right? Not Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones, but Drogo, so Voltan's adopted son. So he finds out, through some of the Hunchback's blokes who kills off that. Oh no, I think he captured Ranulf. But basically, he finds out that they're in this nunnery, and that he decides, I'm going to impress Dad. I'm going to go and I'm going to kill this Hawk dude and whatever. But he gets his arse handed to him, and then he gets passed back. He somehow gets carried back, and this is the most wonderful bit of overacting, Chris, where Voltan finds his adopted son has been slaughtered, and he just yelps out a Drogo.
This was, what?
I'm scratching my head thinking, how are you fucking making money from acting? I don't Get it, Chris?
But I looked at the time, thankful. That's the only time I looked at it. Was an hour in and there was only half an hour left. And I was thinking, getting worse in it. And you actually was pissing yourself because I messaged you and you were like, I knew you'd fucking pick up on that scene.
You sent me that little clip, didn't you?
Fucking terrible. Yeah, I did. Sorry. Yeah. It's woeful. However, I'm going to be a bit controversial, Dave. I'm wondering whether this has had a little bit of an inspiration for fucking Game of Thrones, you know. Now, whether...
without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm not saying... Because he's got a bit of a cult following. I'm not saying, obviously, beat for beat. And a lot of medieval and mythical stuff, it's all the same sort of stuff, like a martial arts movie is. It's pretty much standard fodder when they put them together. It's just the hero might change slightly or the powers change. But usually they've got a big fuck-off sword, haven't they? So... but there's loads of little things when I was watching it because of the dialogue, and I've watched all the Game of Thrones, and I could never follow who they were. They used to introduce so many fucking characters in it. I just give up after about the third season, but I've sort of persevered. I was off it for a couple of seasons and come back, and I ended up watching right to the end. All I wanted in the Game of Thrones stuff was them just to fight, really, because I just thought the build-up stuff was just bollocks most of the time. It was only when we knew the characters a bit better that I had a bit of an interest in Daenerys and stuff like that, you know, and Jon Snow. But this is just, it didn't feel alien watching it, Dave, even though I don't like this stuff usually. It didn't bother me that there was a lot of English people talking. I think when I watched Game of Thrones for the first time, we got proper Yorkshire accents and stuff, didn't we? You know, whereas usually, like you were saying before, you're right, that English, we always talk about that fake English Queen's accent that comes out for a British person. It pisses us all off in the UK because we don't fucking sound like that. You know what I mean? But we know that to everyone else, it's a bit like American accents, innit? Like, I know a New York accent over probably any of them. All the others, I wouldn't have a clue, but a New York accent, I can tell a mile off. Whereas anything else, I haven't got a clue. So it's probably the same. We know we have a regional accent, and in this, they're all just. I can hear some of the accents, like you say, the guy Warren Clark out of DL and Pasco and stuff, and Orange. He's from Yorkshire. You can tell he's a northern guy, so you can tell that. But it's just, I don't know, it's just Hawk the Slayer, unfortunately. It's just, I'll never watch it again, I'll be honest with you. But yeah.
Gotta be honest, Chris. Sort of watched it twice before this.
Dave, just fucking get out now. Really. I'm going to have to close the podcast down.
I'm very surprised. This definitely comes back. I mean, we're running a bit long, so I'll pick up the pace a bit. But, you know, so we've got... we get Voltan. He finds out that Orc's in there. He does a bit of a deal with the nun, who just thinks, well, this shower of bastards in here, they're not giving the money. They've fucking got the money right there. They're not giving it up. So, so they end up drugging them all. And Bernard Breslau actually he injured himself. So when she gives him the cup and like he falls over, that kind of metal plate he had on his chest ended up like going right up into his jaw. He ended up in bloody hospital and stuff. Yeah. So he was obviously all right. I mean, he died years and years later, didn't he? I think he was doing... what was he doing now, Chris? He was doing The Taming of the Shrew. So it was only 93 that he died, and he was just preparing for that, and unfortunately had a heart attack. He was only 59. But anyway, so, they've got all Hawk and everything. We end up with the dwarf, getting a bit lippy. So he gets stabbed and what have you. But that takes Voltan out of the game because he's given Voltan a good old kick in the eye. So he has to go back to the witch, the sorceress, whatever the hell she is, for his mystical Bongella. And so then we get a glorious masterclass in special effects, Chris.
Oh, no.
We get the door opening because we get the good sorceress, who's actually, she was in, what was it? Rocky Horror Picture Show. Another one of your favourites there.
Yep.
And basically, the guy who answers the door is covered in about 20 cans of silly string.
Yeah, kids' party, and he just stands there frozen. It's like, this is where I mentioned about the Jean-Michel Jarre music. This point where we get the A-Team, all we needed was to have a fucking welding kit or something else like they always do in the A-Team. It's pathetic. He stands there frozen in this silly string stuff. You're right. Because I said what was the name and you said silly string when we messaged each other, silly string. And then we get a load of fucking bouncy balls running the room. So they're just flying around the room everywhere. We've got a light, snow. We've got lights going off everywhere. It's gone from medieval to fucking sci-fi. But what the bouncy balls were doing, I fucking haven't got a clue. And Hawk is the worst leading guy ever. He can't fight. He can't do fuck all. And you get that sword thing again where they rewind the tape to put the sword in his hand when he loses it, when him and Voltan are going at each other. It's fucking dog. It's absolute dog awful, Dave. It is absolutely. The end bit, though, for anybody listening, and it's free on YouTube. I'm going to put the link in the show notes so you can definitely watch it to your heart's content. You've just got to watch the end bit because the fact that they use Silly String as a special sort of cement effect and he stands there not moving, it's almost Police Squad levels of at the end, you know, when they're playing the music, they're all standing still trying not to, because I always remember in Police Squad where the big guy, the tall one's eating a banana and they're all stood at the end and it's going, no, the end thing. The next minute, the fucking massive bit of a banana falls on the floor next to O.J. Simpson and fucking Leslie Nielsen. And that's what this is like. It's wonderfully terrible. It's just unbelievable that they've even, honestly, I can't explain how bad it is.
It's the fact that, you know, it's the Silly String is just that luminous green silly string which you'd have had at all your kids' parties and everything. They've just literally, you know, stretched the budget to go down the old party shop and get one of those. And it's like, oh, this will look great. They had loads of these in medieval England. So, yeah, fucking brilliant. But that sets us up for the final battle, doesn't it? You know, like I say, they regroup. I think that's where I was saying about, you know, the elf jumps up in the tree, you know, which is just the film wound backwards. But, you know, I'd forgotten. Basically, everyone gets slaughtered. They give the dwarf a bit of a burial, and they stick him in this mystical bubble thing for some reason that I don't know. But, like, the elf gets killed off, doesn't he? It's basically only... I can't remember what... The giant's alive at the end somehow, but in this final kind of showdown between Voltan and Hawk, it's the worst bit of stage fighting you've ever seen in your life. But, you know, when Hawk uses the Mind Stone, or the Mind Sword it's called, isn't it, to raise it up to his hand, and Voltan's like, what the fuck, kind of thing, you know. And I'm just thinking, again, you know, this 5 to 10 mile radius that you're all wandering around in this forest. You've heard the legendary stories of Hawk. Has no one fucking mentioned that he's got this sword that he can control with his mind, that, you know, the devil himself doesn't know about it? But yeah, that final fight scene, Chris, was horrendous, I would say. I think when you were playing, you know, swords or whatever at school, it was probably on that level, I think. But, you know, that's it. Voltan is sent off, and you know, or he's killed off. Hawk and the giant go off for, you know, adventures anew. But then we get fucking, what's that little thing out of He-Man? Is it Orko or something?
Yeah.
We get Orko turning up and carries off. And he's like, "We have more work for you, Dark One." And it's like, there's a sequel coming, I'm sure of it. I've got news for you, Orko. There fucking wasn't. But yeah, so obviously they were quite confident that there would be. But I mean, yeah. What any thoughts on the end of that bit, Chris?
No. No. Just no, Dave. I can't say anything. It's fucking terrible.
Let's go into our final review then. Now, Chris, I'm gonna let you go first.
No problem.
Because you clearly enjoyed it so much.
You definitely got me back for Eat My Dust, David. Don't you worry about that. But I do think that watching this, it's just never going to be my sort of film. I don't like medieval stuff like that. I find it really difficult to be interested in it if there's not guns or somebody getting fucking maimed, killed, like, you know, with a proper gun or that. I'm just not interested in sorcery, witches, anything. As much as I love He-Man and stuff when I was a kid, and I didn't mind the Dolph Lundgren film. I know he's pretty poor, but you know, that sort of stuff I can get away with. This is just not me. And the fact that you picked probably one of the worst movies ever fucking made is unbelievable. I always bang on about there has to be a good baddie to make the lead actor or actress, you know, credible and great, to make a really good goodie. There's neither that. Jack Palance's fucking awful. Like I say, he's like Pac-Man chewing the scenery up. And fucking John Terry, he's terrible. He is terrible. His dialogue, he says about 8 lines in the whole movie, pretty much. Everything he says is so wooden and monotone. It's like they've got the lines just behind him and he's having to read them while he's on camera. He's so bad. It's unbelievable. Everyone is just shit in this. It's a good starting point for a lot of actors after this, thank God. And they did go on to have good careers. But this is not one they're going to go back and look on and go, well, I can't believe I was in that. That was my breakthrough. It never broke anything. It's fucking terrible. So I have got to send it to Dantooine, Dave. There is a charm about it, and it's definitely watchable, but it's just fucking terrible. So thank you, Mr. Horrocks, and that is 1-1, I believe. So what about yourself?
Well, you know what, Chris? When I chose this one, like I say, I do remember loving it as a kid, but it is a very old film right now. You know, obviously, it's 40 years old now. And I thought it was going to be terrible. And I saw the trailer, and I thought, I fucking got you, Phelps. This is horrendous. So I started watching it, and again, you go through that journey, don't you? You're like, oh, fuck, I've got to watch this as well. You know? But I started watching it, and then I'm like, oh, this is awful. Fuck, how did I ever like this? But then things happen, and like say when the guy gets shot in the chest with the arrow, and he's like, I never saw it coming. You know, it's proper like Black Knight out of Monty Python's Holy Grail. I just started to really enjoy it because it was so terrible. And you know, there's a line that Bernard Breslow says when they've got all the band together and they're trying to come up with a plan on how they're going to attack Voltan, and he says something like, "How can we tempt Voltan when the cup has no wine?" Like, what the fuck does that even mean? I have no idea. Just the dialogue in it's pretty terrible as well. So the music, as I said, it's this weird mashup that doesn't particularly fit, but because it doesn't fit so well, for me, it fits tremendously well. It's just truly iconic. You got this spaghetti western, like little whistling whenever Hawk turns up. And so I got to the end of it, and I'd been through that journey of like thinking it's absolutely terrible and hated it, back to, actually, you know what? I kind of like this. And because I had the time, I ended up watching it again. I'm just smiling at it. I do think having a bottle of wine with it probably helps, you know, but again, it's questionable if you've never seen this before, if you would get any enjoyment out of it at all. But I can see like having a few of the lads round, having a laugh, you know, and just that, you know, having some beers or some wine or whatever, and just laughing at it. It's just so bad, it's good. Now, Chris, I do appreciate it. I'm rating this slightly on a curve, but this is not going to Dantooine. This is not going to Elm Street. It's not even going to Hill Valley. This is going. Sorry,
I'm fucking sat up with this.
I just want to check that you're
I'm actually sat up out of my chair now. I can't believe what you're going to do, but go on.
So this is going to Pleasantville. I will watch this again, Chris. And when I say that about a lot of the movies, obviously, you know, we watch lots of movies and TV every damn week just to podcast about. But so when I say I'll watch it again, it usually means, you know, I'll watch it in the next few years. I think I might watch this again within the next 3 to 6 months, I reckon. It's like nothing else that we've watched recently. And so, yeah, it just brings me so much joy because it's fucking shit. Now, Chris, just very quickly, I will read out to you. So one of the one of the user reviews on IMDB, I think sums it up quite well. Now, he goes even further than I do. He gives it 10 out of 10 and says, I first saw this movie in 1981 about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I loved it. I had some friends staying over at my house for the weekend. We were about 12 years old and lived to play D&D. about 2 minutes after the movie ended, we all set about creating our own mind swords and automatic crossbows. Oh, we forgot about the machine gun crossbows for our characters. Yes, the acting is truly lame, but in a movie like this, who cares? I've always secretly hoped that there was a sequel made, as they totally left it open for one. But I guess it would be too much to ask for. I always wanted to find out. I always wanted to find the movie on DVD so I could show it to my nephews, who thanks to me, are also D&D players. The greatest cult fantasy movie ever, and that's from Kid Called Quick. And so, I think, it's not just me, Chris. I'm not just, egging this up. There is a lot of love out there. Now, admittedly, this is from a D&D player who set about creating his own mind sword. But, as much credibility as any of those reviewers out there.
Right. Firstly, I wish we were videoing this because my head has not stopped nodding since you went past fucking Pleasantville. Or into
Nodding
Pleasantville.
or rocking back and forth.
I can't believe it. Now, bear in mind, there's only two of you agreed with that, Dave. However, I respect that for you, and I wish now I'd stitched you up last week to Eat My Dust to give a good score. I fucking was dying to give it a good score just to get one over on you. I am not happy, Mr. Horrocks. Now, listen. You've done me a great review today, mate. Honestly, I've loved it. I genuinely love watching it, even though it's shit. I love these ones when they're so bad. I love it. I love the interaction we get with everyone who listens online. It's fucking great. But Dave, what are we reviewing next week, my friend?
Yeah, so and this is what I was going to pick a Vietnam movie, wasn't I, this week, until you threw me under the bus with that Eat My Dust shit. So we decided to throw it out to the vote on Twitter, and it actually came back as Missing in Action 2. Now, it was quite close, Chris. We had Platoon in there, we had Full Metal Jacket, we had Good Morning Vietnam. All of them, for me, I've got a lot of fond memories of all of them. But in terms of, we haven't done a Chuck Norris movie. We've done over 50 episodes, haven't we? And we've not got to a Chuck Norris movie. So it kind of feels about right that we sort of did that. But it was damn close for a while. I think I was quite intrigued about which way that would go.
No, it's going to be good, Dave. So anyway, let's give everyone a teaser of what we're going to be reviewing next week.
Vietnam, 1984. Chuck Norris frees the Americans, missing in action. Now, the secret of his rage can be revealed. Missing in Action 2, The Beginning. A war he couldn't forget.
We're going down! Get ready to jump!
The story behind his return. Vietnam, 1972. Captured in a savage jungle war.
You men are not prisoners of war. You are common criminals.
Imprisoned and tortured.
He's not dead! God, no!
Chuck Norris is a prisoner they couldn't break. And a soldier they couldn't hold.
Look, our country has forgotten about us, and we have to do anything we can to survive.
There's one chance for escape.
That's our way out.
He's breaking out and fighting back. An American hero. His story continues.
This is for me.
Chuck Norris, Missing in Action 2, The Beginning.
So thanks for today, Dave. Great experience after Eat My Dust. Really, really enjoyed it. And I'll let you take this one away.
Now, Chris, I do really appreciate you indulging with me on this one. And so thank you also to our listeners out there. Hopefully you've endured with us, even if you've not watched the movie. But like I say, we'll pop in the show notes. It is up on there on YouTube. You can fast forward these things on YouTube as well. So you might want to do that for the first 5 minutes and see what you think. Now, Chris, I'm going to finish off with a marvellous quote. And again, we've said that this is all stage acting stuff. And one of the lines I didn't pick out, just because there were just too many, is a line from Drogo. And he says, "I am no messenger, But I will give you a message. The message of death.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's a lie.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off. One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid. Yeah, maybe you crazy. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I seen you at 6 miles.
I must break